Hello, Renee Flamond here. Minnie is still in her pajamas. One of the things I think that keeps us with the narcissist, there are many things, but I think one of them that keeps us in there and accepting the behaviors they put towards us is that we, because of the love bombing phase, we kind of have built in from the love bombing phase, and I don't even like to say it out loud, but there's a reverence we have for the narcissist. Isn't that ironic? Because we look at them in awe, apart from the love bombing. I'm not saying now. You might be 10 years in and you're like, Renee, I'm way past awe. No, I understand. I'm saying in the beginning, I think that lends itself to us hanging on, because we convince ourselves, no, you don't understand. You didn't hear what he said to me last month, or you didn't see what he did for me last week, or you didn't see how he treated me when we were out and he wipes off my silverware. And oh yeah, that's a move my narcissist did. He'd wipe off the silverware, he'd put the napkin on my knee. Oh yeah, big show. So you convince yourself that that person is treating you so well, and you develop a reverence for them. We're hesitant to squash that reverence because we want it to be real. Of course we want it to be real. Look at me, I'm holding coffee this time. I'm trying to pretend like I'm, that person that can do two things at once and sip coffee and talk to you at the same time. I think in 150 videos I sipped one sip one time. But there's always a cup here. So I might sip it. I'm going to see if I can sip and talk at the same time. One of the things that I want to make sure that we understand in the face of having any reverence for a narcissist is that, this is tough to say in case you're not there yet. If I'm informing you of this, I apologize. But narcissists are truly lacking in anything and everything that actually counts on earth. They're lacking. They're lacking. There's no one for whom we should have reverence when it comes to a narcissist. If anything, it should be the opposite. They are lacking in values, morals, self-esteem, worth, self-respect, all of the things that lead a person to be allowed to even begin to think about having any kind of successful relationship with anyone, friend, business partner, romantic partner, any one of the things that we are taught from childhood that you have to have inside in order to have a successful relationship, they have none. They have none. And where and when it got lost for your narcissist, I have no idea. Look at me, I'm sipping. My new Mother's Day mug from my daughter. I feel like when we learn about self-respect and self-worth, we are very little tiny people. We are hopefully given a healthy way to look at those things from our parents or guidance or grandmother or auntie or whoever raised you or had the most influence on you. We hopefully, those of us that have been loved and had a life surrounded by love, we grew up with that, right? I was determined to raise my child knowing she is the end all on the earth. That was my goal. I'm not saying I'm not saying I raised a stuck-up kid. That's not what we're talking about. I've said this before and I'll say it again. She was raised with the sentence, surround yourself with those worthy of your magnificence. Of course, I'm going to tell my child she's a magnificent creature. First of all, she is. And second of all, shouldn't all children be raised hearing that over and over and over and over and over? My kids heard it a gazillion times. From my husband, too. ex-husband. I forget to put ex in there sometimes because I've only had one, so people know who I'm talking about. But I think that when it comes to a narcissist's childhood, wherein obviously something happened that broke them, they were not getting that. Or, as they've said, a narcissist can have an ideal childhood and it's the opposite, and they're pumped so much that you can do no wrong, you're entitled to behave that way, I'm not going to correct you, so you self-correct, anything you do is fine. That can also lead to a narcissistic personality disorder. But I don't think those things from a parent, when they lead to that, is going to give them, they don't have a self-worth inside. I think kids like boundaries, kids like structure, kids like rules, kids need them in order to learn how to behave and navigate in the world. So a narcissist is going to seek you out to take on your qualities. That's what they do. They even call them, and I've said it before, vampires. They suck from you what they need. Okay? So you're a funny, smart, successful person. They're going to want to be and act and be around you and reflect that, and also bring on their funny, smartest person they got inside them. They're going to have kick out. Or, you know what I'm saying? When they're going to tell stories to pretend to be successful. I think they try to sell, okay, how can I word this? They try to sell the reactions to them from you and others as evidence that they are worth something. So the reactions to them have to be big, right? So they're going to overreact and overact every aspect of their desired personality to sell it. So they're going to be not just tough, they're going to be the toughest. They're going to be the most braggy person in the room, braggadocious, brag, brag, brag. They're going to have swagger. They're going to be the loudest. They're going to try to be the funniest. God forbid you try to tell a story. Even though they're trying to take your humor from you, out of you, into them, they want it. Now you be quiet. There's a room full of people. I'm talking. They don't want to share any of that with you. And that is because they lack values, morals, self-esteem, self-worth, self-respect. They really walk around these void creatures. There's nothing in them. So when you look at that and you know how we, again, normal, whatever normal means, if you were raised in a healthy environment, we're taught those things in our babyhood. That's something that your parents and your people, they show you that when you're a tiny little person, and you carry that forward, and hopefully they love you hard every day of your life, and you land here at 53 years old, and you know that you have worth and value to put back into the universe. Can you imagine growing up and not having that feeling? And being an adult right now and not having that feeling? Now, I'm not saying that to make you feel bad for them. I'm saying that to inform you that they are lacking. So if somebody is lacking in that capacity, how can they possibly add to your life? Huh? How? How could they possibly add to your life when the old adage, and I never really understood, you ought to love yourself before you love somebody else. We've been reading that since the 70s. I say 70s because that's when I was a child. You ought to love yourself before you love somebody else. That's real. I think now as an adult we understand that. Of course you do. I obviously had a hole of loving myself somewhere inside here, even though I have self-worth and value and morals and such. I had a little space missing, and he got in. So maybe that's what they're talking about when they say you have to have self-love. You have to know what it is. You have to value yourself, value other people, and that comes through love. These people, I'm telling you, do not have the capability to get there. And when they're trying to be bigger than you, or what, I got to the point at the very end, actually it was probably post breakup, but we were together with people at the pool. I think I remember there were 4 or 5 of us. And every time I talked, he tried to interrupt. By this point, we weren't together. This is what I'm talking about they try to overact their reactions to sell who they are. So I looked at him and I said, yo, I'm talking. And I looked at the couple that we knew and I said, excuse me, we're working on self-control. And I made it into, and he's laughing, and I said, no, seriously, you can't just interrupt people and take over the conversation. I'm obviously having a conversation. Because at that point I had it. I was in full lesson mode, and I'm going to try to, not that they're going to learn, but I was trying to say, no, that's unacceptable behavior. But it was, I'm going to talk right over you. I'm going to steamroll over you. Your story's not important. Mine is better. Mine is funnier. I'll tell our story better. I'm funnier. Anything to get the voice out. He wanted to get his voice out, and he wanted to be heard and have the floor and have. That's not the recipe for somebody that has any kind of moral code or knows how to behave or has any kind of self-worth. Can't you just sit and listen to somebody else and nod and go, ooh, really, and and have an interaction like that? That would be a healthy reaction when somebody else is telling the story. Equal airtime, equal floor time when you're in a social setting. But no, they want to dominate the entire hour. Just have it be their show. Keep a look on that. Because if you are dealing with somebody that is a narcissist, and look at their life in every aspect of it. Every aspect of my narcissist life is filled with just debauchery, hedonistic behavior, just gross. It's a gross, gross life because they're lacking in anything that would lead them to a good life. Do you know what I'm saying? So keep a look on that and keep a look out for that, and that might explain to you a lot of why they interrupt you, steamroll over you. They have absolutely no other way to be. That's the only way they know how to be. Chin up.